The 9 bodies in Mexico's Pacific have finally come to an end. The long-awaited murderer will also be revealed at this level. It's now the middle of the 9th day. The rising sun quickly dispersed the fog. The surrounding rescue troops also saw the signal launchers. But there was no one on the top of the mountain. Fortunately, after carefully searching nearby with this as the original intention, I finally found the wreckage of the plane that crashed under the cliff. So I found a total of 7 bodies here. But after taking everything back and organizing it, I found that there were 10 passports. And after a brief check, I found that everyone was killed by others. The military suspects that the murderer may still be hiding in the original jungle. Immediately send the troops again to carefully search for the whereabouts of the 10 people. At the same time, in order to be cautious, he also invited professional forensic scientists to come to the scene. But they didn't know that their call had already been interrupted by Lisa, who was not far away. He pretended to have a broken car on his way here and stopped the other party. Then he took the opportunity to kill the forensic scientist without being attacked for a moment. Then he pretended to have successfully entered the military area. The officer, who had never seen a forensic sample, did not notice a thing. At the same time, in the quiet Pacific, a sharp blade pierced through the bandage. Then a body that should have died slowly stood up. The murderer used a fake death to hide in a real body. Then he used the military rescue to escape from the original jungle. And there was a person with such a strange idea. But when he was going to dissect the other bodies, there was a sudden sound of footsteps outside the door. At this time, Lisa had led the soldiers to the door of the Pacific. He suggested that he should go in alone. Otherwise, he was afraid that the other party would not be able to stand it for a while. But the soldiers insisted on supervising. There was no other reason after Lisa heard it. But when he came in, the soldiers were surprised to find that all the corpses here had been opened and poisoned. Then they didn't wait for him to react, and he was knocked unconscious on the ground. And Lisa, who was standing next to him, was not surprised at all. He came here to run away with glasses on. His bag was not a dissecting tool, but 2 barrels of gasoline. The 2 quickly spilled the gasoline all over the room, and then set fire to this place and left. Fortunately, the thick smoke of the nose choked the soldiers, and they managed to escape before they were burned to death. Ma, who was anxious on the other side, also learned that a child had been found. Considering that her husband may be among the 9 corpses, the official thought and decided to allow her to come and identify him. But at this moment, a violent explosion sounded. Then he saw Lisa's accomplice driving away quickly. Everyone's attention was attracted by the other party. He didn't even know that the 2 people with glasses had secretly escaped. And because the soldiers were beaten from behind, he only knew that the murderer was one of the 9 corpses. But at this time, all 8 corpses had been burned. No one knew who the murderer was. Some friends asked why there were so few corpses. That's right, because the old man fell off the cliff, so he couldn't find his glasses. But he didn't know that the other party had actually not died. The dense branches as a buffer allowed the old man to survive. But because the size was too small, the rescue team searched for a long time and didn't see it. The helicopter was about to fly away again. The old man took out his sunglasses and aimed at the sun. Under the sunshine, the soldiers finally found his figure. Soon it was the 10th day. The old man, who had been rescued, successfully removed the bullet from his body and escaped the danger of life. And from his mouth, the official finally knew what was going on. Although the old man was not sure who the murderer was, he had an answer in his heart at this time. The murderer, who didn't know he was still alive, must have relaxed his guard. Now all you have to do is follow the relevant instructions of everyone and were also thrown away. Instead, he filled his body with magic sand. The function of replacing blood and nerves is to control the body. Who would have thought that the sorceress would have such a terrible will? The professor also found a piece of broken paper on his body. After solving the problem, he got a coordinate. He pointed to the 16th highway in Moscow, and the sorceress, who didn't know that he was awake, came to him. Of course, there was also the sorceress, Rasputin, who was manipulating all this. It turned out that he deliberately made the note. He needed an opportunity to lure Nanju out and reveal the future to the professor. It was a world shrouded by the end of the day. The blood was full of destruction, and the culprit was Nanju. The professor didn't believe it at all. He knew his son's temper the best. He put down the cross and died calmly. When Nanju came, there was only a cold corpse left. Since then, Nanju has never said a word again. The fist in his neck has never been released. In addition to being furious, he also has endless self-blame. Because the night when the professor was in trouble, the disobedient Nanju ran away from home again just to see his lover in his dream, Lee Sai. They were childhood sweethearts, but they never got together. Lee Sai has had a strong superpower since he was a child. But once out of control, he will hurt the innocent, causing him to blame himself too much and lock himself in a mental hospital. This has been going on for 20 years, and he swore not to contact anyone again. Until today, the knot in his heart has not been untied. So Nanju ran away every time to accompany him. But if the disobedient professor stayed in the Defense Bureau, he wouldn't have killed his father. Looking at the disobedient Nanju, Lee Sai decided to accept his love. Nanju soon recovered from his grief. The director of the Defense Bureau followed the professor's lead and led a team to the 16th Avenue outside Moscow. But the destination was too vast. It was easy to find the hidden spot of Rasputin. Nanju opened the tomb and awoke a corpse. Under his leadership, everyone came to the complicated underground tunnel, which triggered the hidden mechanism and forcibly divided them into two teams. Nanju and his team just stepped on a stone bridge, and the iron gate behind them closed instantly. Then the big hammer came and hit the iron gate. The corpse also fell into the abyss. Nanju first threw the director into a safe area, and then completely collapsed on the stone bridge and dug into the closed iron gate. At this time, the killer's enemy was in danger. Nanju caught him, and he was a dead man. After that, he threw a net full of sharp thorns, and then used a giant gear to press it into an iron wall. But Lee Sai and Tan Yuan accidentally walked into the Hell Dog's den. There were too many of them. Nanju heard the sound below and began to hit the ground crazily. He forced the channel to block their body. However, if the Hell Dog kills one, it will resurrect into two. The more you kill, the more. Lee Sai quickly let Tan Yuan slap himself. It turns out that he had to be hurt to activate the superpower. He could only see the blue holy fire all over his body. The countless Hell Dogs turned into ashes in an instant. The ashes were so strong that Nanju, who ignored the flame, was also in a coma. When he woke up, Rasputin used a magical shackle to suppress Nanju. Then when his face sent Lee Sai's soul to hell, Nanju had no choice but to obey Rasputin's order to save him. When the moon was down, Nanju said his real name. "I can't do it." The sound was just down. The shackle was released automatically. Nanju's chicken feet grew out again. The hellfire was lit on his head. It turned out that his Kylan arm was the key to the end of the world. It was called the right hand of destruction. Nanju put his right hand into the stone cup without hesitation. A powerful spiritual force rushed out. A transmission door was torn open on the surface of the moon. The sealed evil dragon god broke through the crystal shackle and was about to go to the human world. Tan Yuan awakened the pure heart. The demon blood vessel was not all of him. Nanju broke the chicken feet. The transmission door disappeared with it. Nanju used the chicken feet to solve the problem of Rasputin.